up on FYI. Do you feel safe walking to school? We visit pupils in Birmingham who face a journey through a crime hotspot every day.
And we'll be asking, are we getting enough of a break from the stresses of school?
You shouldn't overwork yourself. Like, if you're really stressed, you should take a break.
This is FYI, where we bring you all the latest info and you get your say.
Yeah, and this week we're going to be talking all things school. Love it or hate it, it's a massive part of our lives. But how do we deal with the everyday stresses?
We'll be hearing from FYI viewers and getting advice from FYI psychologist Laverne Antrobus.
But first, we're going to kick things off with a couple of stories that we found that could be fake news. Can you guys guess which?
We found this photo being shared online that shows ice melting in a jug of water and the water level of the jug roughly staying the same. The post is meant to represent an iceberg and sea levels and suggests that melting sea ice because of global warming doesn't mean ocean levels are rising. But are the claims fake news or fact?
Or is this photo of a 44-inch cottonmouth snake in the USA real or just good photo editing? It was posted by a member of an online reptile group and then it went viral, with lots of people commenting that the photo wasn't real. But what do you think? We'll reveal all later. So here's a question. What's it like where you live? Do you feel safe? If the answer is no, then it's actually not that surprising. We had a look at some stats and crime is on the increase in cities in England and Wales.
Gang-related crime is a big issue. In fact, it's so bad that there's a new scheme being tried out in the West Midlands.
Yeah, so on 18 routes to school, pupils are walking together in large groups with youth workers looking out for them.
It's all part of a new government scheme called Step Together. I joined pupils in Birmingham on their walk to and from school. Youth violence has been on the increase. Last year, there was an average of 590 offences in the West Midlands every month. But it's hoped that a new scheme called Step Together won't just protect pupils from gang crime, but it will also drive the gangs out of these areas. This is all about communities making a stand. While we're all so unlikely to be affected by gang violence, this school and others nearby have become a big concern. The Step Together scheme is all about safety in numbers, with pupils being accompanied by local youth workers to school. So how big is the problem with gang crime and antisocial behaviour around here?
It's a big problem. We're an inner city school and we have a local park where lots of crime takes place. It's the second highest crime rate in Birmingham, so we are very aware that we need to keep our pupils safe around here because of that reason.
Sadly, in West Midlands, in the last few years, there have been attacks on teenagers in the hours after school, and it's hoped that the chaperone scheme will stop that from happening.
No matter where you're from, what you're doing, we're here to help you keep you safe.
It's home time, so Khadija has invited me to join her and her friends on their walk home to see if they feel safer. So, do you feel safer walking home from school having a chaperone?
Definitely, because I feel like with the chaperones here, I know if something was to happen, there's people around that can help with it.
Do you always walk home with your friends then? Or?
Yeah, most of the time. So if I'm not being picked up, I'll walk home with a group of my friends, so about 4 or 5 of us.
Yeah, because you can get security walking with your friends, saying that there's more of you, and then especially on top of that having chaperones.
Yeah.
So what are your main worries?
Around this area, there's quite a high crime rate. We've got like nearby parks where a lot of crime happen as well. There's a lot of stabbing and knife crime going around this area. There's gangs and stuff as well, so it's quite dangerous.
So do you think that more schools should follow this scheme?
Yeah, because I feel like it'll help so many more kids and kind of decrease the amount of gang violence that's happening around schools, even if it's not here.
Bye-bye. Well, everyone got home safely tonight. The scheme isn't going to end crime, but it's definitely reassuring for us and our parents. It's a shame we have to go to these lengths in the first place, but if it does help with stopping violence and crime, more of these schemes could be rolled out in schools across the country soon. So the feedback from some of the schools taking part in the scheme is saying that it has had a positive impact, and they hope that the scheme can continue into next year.
Well, it's been a tough couple of years at school for some of us, hasn't it? Loads of us fell behind with work because of COVID, and more of us are on free school meals because families are struggling with money. So we heard that the children's charity, the NSPCC, that run the Children's Helpline Childline, saw a 33% increase in children contacting the service about friendship issues, with worries about falling out or struggling to make friends.
So the charity thinks we need a day dedicated to what we love doing. It's called Childhood Day. This year, they encouraged our schools to take part in the big break time, to give us a chance to have a proper break and just have fun. And it's also to raise money to help keep children safe.
One of our FYI News Clubs even got involved. We're headed to Bayard Hill Primary School to check it out.
1, 2, 3, Today at school we're having a big break time day where we just have loads of time to do fun games with our classes and years.
We're doing like hand clapping and hide and seek and capture the flag.
How do you win the game?
They're really fun to do because you get to do it with your friends.
We're gonna get the flag!
I prefer these games because you get to go out and have like exercise, and at home you'll just be like sat down on your phone or watching TV.
I think a childhood day is needed because children need to be happy and their mental health needs to be healthy.
It's one way to get children to play and have fun and spend time with other children they might not play with normally. You shouldn't overwork yourself. Like, if you're really stressed, you should take a break.
Sometimes you can feel overwhelmed or anxious. If you don't take a break, then maybe the anxiety will take you over.
I think we should be playing more because, like, kids these days are always on their phone, like, cooped up in the house.
At my house, we do like hide and seek like every weekend to like try and make it so we're not on our devices all the time.
I also think that even like playing some games on your phone or laptop, they're also really fun to play too.
Not everybody can be able to afford things that they would like to do. There's lots of games you can play without any money, like, for example, hide and seek, chaos tag.
For football, you just need like, you don't need much.
It doesn't cost much to make you happy, does it?
It just matters if you're having fun.
True.
Remember, if you want to have your say on an issue right here on FYI, head to our webpage at first.news/FYI. You'll get all the info on how to set up an FYI News Club at your school.
So really good advice there from FYI News Club members, but we wanted to get hold of FYI Psychologist Laverne Androbus to have a bit more of a chat about how to deal with issues in school. Hi Laverne, thanks for joining us.
Hi.
So what advice would you give to pupils who are maybe feeling a bit down about school and are struggling to make friends or are falling out with them?
So if you're falling out with friends, perhaps you've got to take a bit of a look at what's gone on. How much might you be a bit responsible for? Maybe you've said something that you didn't mean to. If that's the case, quickly apologise and try and put things back together. If you can't put it back together, you might just have to accept that, it's time to move on. Often you make friends from looking around and thinking about people who seem similar to you. But I think you've got to remember the qualities that you've got and be confident about that, because once you feel confident, that will attract other people towards those friendships with you.
Well, over the past few weeks, we've seen quite a few reports that because of the war in Ukraine, quite a few Russian-speaking children are being picked on at school. So what can we do about that?
We've got to remember that, this is a conflict that involves Russians and Ukrainians, and what we're hearing is that, they're not happy about this. So you've got to sort of call out any instances where children are being picked on. We all know that's never okay.
So more and more Ukrainian refugees who have fled the war, I think, have been joining our classes. And sometimes I think we're a bit, stumped on that and don't really know what to say to them. I mean, do we bring up the war and ask them what they've been through? Or do we avoid that topic of conversation?
I think in these moments, you've got to sort of trust your instincts a little bit. We can't really totally imagine what it's like to be a Ukrainian child who's here at the moment. We really can't. So your job really is to include them as much as possible, perhaps in lessons, help them sort out where they need to be with their work, or making sure in the playground that you come alongside them and they're not left alone. So basically you're treating them and responding to them in the way that you would want to be, which is to feel included, to feel cared for. And if you are asking them questions about how they're feeling, please don't feel too pressured about having the right or wrong answers. Often when we want to speak about our experiences, what we really value is just being heard.
Well, thank you so much for speaking to us, Laverne. That's really great advice.
Thank you.
Braden, check out this cool rainbow that a fogger truck made in a city in China.
That's awesome. What's it doing?
It's actually spraying mist to help reduce dust and pollution particles in the air. The rainbow was just a cool side effect.
Nice. Calling all theatre performers, how would you feel if you got the chance to perform and get feedback from West End professionals?
Well, do we have the event for you?
Yeah, it's called the Junior Theatre Festival, and 33 groups from 8 different countries got to have that opportunity.
We caught up with Timmy, who went along with his theatre group and wanted to share his experience with us.
Hey FYI, there are so many of us here ready to impress the socks off of some professional actors, producers and directors by performing just 10 minutes of a musical like Cats, Matilda or Once in This Island.
Everyone at the Junior Theatre Festival is just like me. We love performing in musicals at our school or in amateur theatre groups. This event is all about having the chance to get feedback from the pros.
As well as watching each other perform and getting feedback, there are also workshops taught by top West End pros. But first, it's time to show the judges what we got. Wish me luck!
Where to see? Bubbling in the sun.
I'm part of BTA West End, a group performing Once on This Island. It's a one-act musical set in the Caribbean, and it's retelling the story of The Little Mermaid.
Thank you very much for your beautiful performances. You should all be really, really proud of yourselves. Thank you.
Judges' comments seemed very supportive and they were really helpful.
Can you feel that?
The judges said that we should pass the baton on, which meant that we should pass the energy on through the scene so that there was more momentum and it kept going on and on and on and on.
The awards for achievement in dance go to Stagecoach Abingdon.
The award show is fun at the end too, and some of us also get to perform our acts on the big stage.
Theatre means a lot to me because it means that I can just let go and just be myself.
The Junior Theatre Festival has really been such an incredible day, filled with so many amazing moments, and I cannot wait to take what I have learned today back home with me.
Thanks, Timmy. So how are your fake news detection skills with this week's stories?
The photo being shared online that supposedly shows no effect of seawater rising when an iceberg melts into the sea is fake news. Sea ice is different to icebergs or land ice. Sea ice is formed in the ocean, whereas icebergs break off glaciers that are formed on land from snow, as this helpful video made by NASA shows. So when temperatures rise because of global warming and melt the glaciers and icebergs, it does affect rising sea levels because it adds more water into the sea.
Which means this photo of a 44-inch cottonmouth snake in the USA is fact. The perspective of the snake being closer to the camera than the man meant lots of people thought the photo was fake and that the snake was a lot bigger than 44 inches. But the user posted more photos to show it was a real snake. Remember, perspective can fool you in photos, and it doesn't mean the photo is edited. Check out these people posing next to the Leaning Tower of Pisa in Italy.
Well, that's it for this week's FYI. But as June is Pride Month, a month dedicated to celebrating LGBT+ communities, we wanted to finish off with how Pride is being marked around the world.
LGBT+ stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender. The plus is a very simple symbol that represents a celebration of all inclusivity.
It's about people coming together to show how far gay rights have come and how in some places there's still work to be done. See you next week.